What's happening YouTube? I am Highway to Hill and this is my bike Yamaha R3. Today I'm going to be reviewing my new tires. So these are the Apollo Alpha H1 and this is going to be a full review, and I will compare also this tire with Metzeler Sportec M5 and Pirelli Diablo Rosso 2, because those are the other two tires that I have had on my bike. I have done just a little above 30,000 kilometers. Obviously the Metzelers were the standard one, and then I used the Pirelli Diablo Rosso 2, and these are my third set of tires, and this is the Apollo Alpha H1. Now before I start the review, there are a few things that I want to say about tire wear, and the wear of your tire depends on quite a lot of things. For example, how you ride, what bike you have, how are the roads in and around where you ride. Now the R3 produces torque of around 29.6 Newton meters, and it only produces this, the peak torque range is from around 7,000 rpm to 9,000 rpm. This is where you get the peak torque, compared to another bike, let's say a Duke 390, which produces, segment leading torque of 37 Newton meters, and it produces it way low. You can reach the peak torque at 7,000 rpm itself. So probably from 5,000 to 7,000 you get a lot of torque. So obviously your tire wear will be more on a bike like the Duke. And also how you ride, how you shift. Now most of my shifting happens way below 7,000 rpm. So my shifting happens at around 6,500, which means I shift even before I reach the peak torque band. So that's another reason, for one factor for tire wear, and how it can, your riding style can affect the tire wear. I have done 1,000 kilometers so far on these tires. I have done good roads, bad roads, dirt, muck, broken roads, no roads. I've done city roads, highway, hills, twisty roads. I've done everything, and I've been completely satisfied. Not for one moment I ever felt nervous, or that these tires were not sufficient. So let's get into the review. First things first, the looks. I think these tires look absolutely amazing. The day I got these tires, I took a picture and posted on Instagram, and everybody loved it. And in Metzelers and in Pirellis, you see a wave kind of a pattern, which are just waves over here, grooves. But here you see really sharp pattern. It almost looks like a lightning bolt over here, and I really love this design, really sharp design. So these are Apollo's first steel belted motorcycle tires, and the moment I got these tires and put this on and I started riding, so there are two things that I noticed immediately. Number one, I felt a little bit of extra weight on the front. I'll quickly tell you why I felt that. And the other thing that I immediately noticed was that my braking distance had slightly increased. Now this is happening because of the weight of the tires. Now the front tire of the Apollo weighs 4.4 kgs compared to the Metzeler Sportec M5, which is at 4 kgs, and Pirelli Diablo Rosso 2 3.9. So it's at least a half a kg more than the Pirelli, and another 400 grams heavier than the Metzeler. So this is one reason that I feel the front feels slightly little bit heavy, and that's also, I think, another reason why the braking distance has slightly increased. So you have to be careful if you're coming from a much more superior tire like the Metzeler or Pirelli. You need to probably be aware and recalculate your how you brake. It's not too bad, but it's just that you will feel the difference right away. Also, because of this weight, now the Apollo weigh 9.4 kgs, both the tires, compared to the Metzelers, which is 8.9 front and rear, and Pirellis are 8.7. So it's a good 700 grams heavier than the Pirellis and half a kg heavier than your Metzelers. So this will also affect your mileage, but I think it's very negligible. It will probably be 5% or less than 5%, but that's okay, because you will get more mileage out of these tires. You will definitely, I think these tires will definitely go at least 15,000 kilometers. I think I'm sure of that. And in terms of grip, dare I say, but I'll make this statement, these are as good as the Metzeler Sportec M5. In dry weather, in dry conditions, these are right up there. I think unless you're pushing really hard, for example, you're doing track days and you want to push the bike really hard, then and only then you will start feeling the difference that the Metzelers are probably better and Pirellis are even better than that. But for an everyday rider, I just do city riding and touring and just have some fun when I'm riding, the twisties in the hills. These tires are more than enough. So in terms of grip in dry weather, I would say these are really, if not equal, really close to the Metzeler Sportec M5. Now, talking about grip and leaning, there's one thing that I want to discuss. Now, I think that these Apollo Alpha H1, these have, I think, 3 layers. Something similar to what you see on a Sportec M3 or a M5. So the M3 has maybe a comparatively harder layer in the center, and then you have your layer 2 and 3. And in Sportec M5 you have 1 layer in the center, then you have 2, 3, and then 4, 5. I tried to do a bit of research about these tires and see if they have this layer, these different traction that you get at different layers, but I couldn't find any product details. But I felt this while riding. When you are going straight, you are at this patch, the traction is here. When you start leaning, when the contact patch starts shifting here, you can immediately feel that the traction is changing. I'm sure it's not just me. If you have these tires and you have noticed this, please do let me know. And that's why I say that these tires have 3 layers. So one, the center, which is a harder one, and then you have these 2 layers on each side. So it behaves more like a Metzeler Sportec M3. The point is, it's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just that you feel that transition, that traction changing when you start leaning. So the transition is not too smooth. In a tire like Metzelers, the transition that happens when your contact patch changes from center and you start leaning over, the transition is really smooth. But here you can immediately feel. These tires do take some time to heat up. So if you want to ride hard immediately, I think you have to probably reassess that, because these tires take some time to heat. The Pirellis are the best. The Pirellis heat up really fast, and then the Metzelers, but these tires do take some time. So there's one thing that you probably need to be aware of before you start pushing really hard on these tires. So overall, in conclusion, I think these are really good tires. I paid 10,500 rupees for front and back, including taxes. So this is cheaper than your Metzeler and your Pirellis, and you will get more mileage out of it, and you're also paying less. It's expensive for an Indian tire, but I think you cannot compare it with the other Indian manufacturers. I think it is the best tire from any Indian manufacturer, and I had to put it up against the Metzeler and the Pirelli. I am not pushing my bike really hard all the time, and for that, if you want to do that, you probably might go ahead with the Metzeler or the Pirelli. But for me, I think this is more than enough. So it's a good balance of price and mileage, and also grip, stability, etc. So overall, I think it's a good, nice value for money package without compromising grip, stability, etc. If I had to rate these three tires, I would rate Pirelli high up there. Pirelli Diablo Rosso 2. Number 2 would be Metzeler Sportec M5, and equally, side by side, I would also put the Apollo Alpha H1. I haven't tested these tires in the wet, so I have absolutely no clue how these would perform. So that's it, guys. If you have these tires, do let me know what you think about these tires, or if you're planning to get these tires. I hope you found this video useful. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, I am Highway to Hill, and you ride safe. Happy New Year. Ciao.